These are the types of bones. You have long bones. These mainly act as levers. If we have a look at these, you have phalanges. Any idea what they are? Fingers and toes. Okay, so your fingers and toes are your phalanges. Good. Metacarpals. Yeah, good. They're the bones in the hand. But if you make a fist where your knuckles are, okay, that's the metacarpal phalangeal joint. Okay, sounds like a really long name, but when you break it down, it's really quite easy. Metacarpal, that's these bones here in the hand, and then your phalanges are these ones, your fingers. That's why that is the metacarpal phalangeal joint, because it's the join between those two bones. Yeah, it sounds really difficult initially, but when you break it down, it's quite simple. Tibia, where's that? Where's your tib? Yeah, that's your shin bone. So you should be able to feel that as well. If you feel your kneecap, and then just move inferiorly and distally, then you can feel your shin bone, okay, all the way down to your ankle. It's usually quite pointed and a bit sharp. Fibula, any idea what that one is? So, yeah, next to the tibia, yeah. So your fibula is on the lateral aspect of your lower leg. Okay. Femur, we talked about that one already, so that's in your thigh. That's another long bone. Radius, where's that? Good, in the forearm. Yeah, very good. But if you put your hand in the anatomical position, your radius is on the thumb side. It's that bone on the outside there. The other one in the arm and in the forearm is the ulna, which is on the inside, so that's on the medial aspect. Okay, so we have radius on the outside here, and then ulna on the inside here. Humerus. Good, yeah, so that's your upper arm there. So those are all long bones, and the reason why they're called long bones is because they are longer than they are wide. That's the classification. Even the end of your finger, that is a long bone. With your phalanges, you've got 3 of them in these fingers, 2 of them in your thumb. 1, 2, 3. That end one is still a long bone because it is longer than it is wide. That's why it's classified in that way. Short bones, these are cuboidal, so they're shaped like squares, basically like 3D squares, and they glide across each other. You get those in the wrist. If you have a look at those, only found in the wrist and the ankles, and they're called your carpals, which are the ones in the wrist, and your tarsals, which are in your feet. The way that I remember that is if you remember tarsals and toes. Flat bones usually serve a protective function. Pelvis, that's a flat bone. Your ribs, they're flat bones. Your scapula, which is your shoulder blade, that's a flat bone as well. And your cranium, your skull, those are all flat bones. Yeah, there aren't very many of these. These are called sesamoid bones. Sesame seeds, yeah, that's why it's called a sesamoid, because it's the same shape as a sesame seed. And the sesamoid bones, these are quite interesting because they're held within tendons. Yeah, so we'll talk about it more when we do the knee, but your patella, which is your kneecap, sits in a tendon and it floats and fits in a groove. And you've got some in your feet as well, you've got sesamoid bones in your feet. So yeah, big toe, your big toe is called the hallux. We'll talk about that more when we do the foot. But these are developed through trauma or stress as well. So you can get bone growth within areas that you shouldn't have it. Have you heard of a dead leg before? Someone having a dead leg, yeah? So if you hit your leg on the corner of a table or something like that and it really hurts, if you hit it hard enough that it damages the outside of the bone, you have bone building cells called osteoblasts, all located on the outside of that bone. And sometimes those cells can leak into the muscle, and the cells think that the muscle is bone, and it will just grow, and you'll get a little bit of bone in the muscle. Sometimes when you're feeling people's legs and they go, oh yeah, I fell over and now my leg really hurts, and you're poking and prodding it and you go, oh blimey, that feels a bit tight in there. And if you use manual therapy techniques to try and get rid of it, you won't be able to, because it might be a bit of bone. So it'll feel different to what normal kind of trigger point would feel like. It's a lot harder. The one in the knee is part of the tendons in the front of the thigh, the anterior part of the thigh. These are called your quadricep muscles, and you have a tendon at the end of those that go down into your tibia, and your patella sits in that tendon. Then you have irregular bones. These are irregular in shape, provide features for muscle attachments or articulation. What does articulation mean? Have you heard of that?
movement between two.
Yeah, good. Okay, so it's the joint, yeah, between two bones. So if you think about an articulated lorry, okay, then it's got a joint in the middle. These are your vertebra. Your vertebrae are very irregular. It's amazing how they develop, actually, in the embryo. Ischium, the pelvis, and suture, so in the skull. All those bones are considered irregular. They're not flat, they're not long, they're just a bit weird shaped. Okay, they're quite specific and specialised.